stop sharing the screen.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Venture Capital TV, VCTV, which is from Token. And today we're going to discuss about Bitcoin. Bitcoin, is it the digital gold? So that's the topic for today's session. Today I'm joined by quite a lot of speakers to share their insights. I have Patrick from Dragon's Gold, Fabio, Golden Eagle, Samar from Trade Dog, David from ProChain, Adrian from Sarah Global Ventures. Then we have Jamie from Brilliantx, who is going to be speaking about his project and his IEO on Token. So fantastic. But before that, let's just gather some insights about Bitcoin. Is it really a digital gold? Gold, I was just having a discussion with David before we went live. The difference between gold and Bitcoin. So growth in the store of value is usually a contradiction, but not in the case of Bitcoin. So why is that? Let's start with David, if that's okay, David. Before that, this is the question. Before that, let's take some round of introductions from you, background about you as well. Let's start with that first, David. And welcome back on VCTV.
Thank you very much, Sunny. It's good to see you today. And to the esteemed panel, good to see you as well. Some new faces, some that I recognize. My name is David Towell. I am the president of ProChain Capital. ProChain Capital is a crypto asset focused hedge fund. We invest in cryptocurrencies and tokens, both on a long basis and on a short basis. In addition, we invest in equities and debt of publicly traded companies that are involved in the payment space that have considerable exposure to crypto related either currencies or other technological activities. And in addition, we have a small portion of our portfolio allocated to private venture and seed level investments. I've been in the asset management industry for about 15 years. I've managed other hedge funds. And again, I'm happy to be here this morning.
Thank you, David. Thanks for that intro. Next, I have Patrick, Dragon's Vault.
So hello, everybody. I'm Patrick Poirier. I'm the general partner of Dragon's Vault. So we're a globally distributed investment fund that basically invested into crypto assets, and we leverage this against the cash flow of existing business, small and medium-sized business that we invest in. So we're so far with that innovative model, we're on track to do about 230% of return this year. And as far as me, I have a background more in tech, so more like artificial intelligence and blockchain and just software engineering overall. And I'll be happy to be here to discuss what we do. And also, we're also launching our own token to support our activity. So we can maybe talk about that as well a little bit.
Fantastic, Patrick. I know about that. Thank you so much. Next, I have Adrian. Hi, Adrian. Welcome back. How are you?
Hello, Sonny. Hello, everybody. One very nice lady and a lot of men here. We spoke about women inclusion in venture capital. So we need more women speakers between us, right?
Yeah.
My name is Adrian Niculescu. Very happy to be here. I'm a serial entrepreneur and investor. My genius zones are marketing, sales, and business development, and I love keeping my hands dirty in these areas. Besides my advisory roles and membership board spots, I'm involved in a few projects. Cloudcoin Consortium. Cloudcoin is a post-blockchain digital currency. Faster Capital, a Dubai-based accelerator and incubator for startups. Sarah Global Ventures, which is a London-based venture capital firm. And also I'm a mentor in Virgin UK Startups program. Thank you again for having me today.
Awesome. Fantastic, Adrian. Thank you so much and welcome back. Fabio. Hi, Fabio. How are you today?
I'm doing all right, Sonny. Thank you for having me again. I am an economist by training. I have a PhD in economics from the University of Chicago. During my career, I worked for the International Monetary Fund, the European Central Bank for the launch of the euro. Then I moved to Goldman Sachs in London, and afterwards, I moved to the Arabian Peninsula to work for a sovereign institution and sovereign wealth funds. In particular, I was the chief strategy officer for the Oman Investment Fund. Then, a year and a half ago, I became partner of an investment bank based in New York with offices in Dubai and Hong Kong. The headquarters in New York is under the name of Golden Eagle. In Dubai and Hong Kong, we operate under the brand Emintad. What I do, I help innovative companies to raise funds, primarily in the over-the-counter market in New York, but also through fundraising with financial institutions. And I am also dealing with the cryptosphere. In other words, I look at projects in cryptocurrencies, ICO, and everything that pertains to this world.
Great, fantastic, Fabio. Good to know that you're into ICOs now. And welcome back on VCTV. Samar,
Hi guys, hello everyone. Nice to meet you all. So my name is Summerweed and I represent TradeDog. TradeDog is a research and an advisory company. It specializes in providing institutional grade analytic and investment reports for the retail community. And we also have a partner investment fund that is O1X Capital, which is based in Dubai. And we invest very heavily in early to growth stage ventures. And we are more inclined towards the DeFi and the blockchain space. One of our sister company, which is based in India, has been in the AI and deep tech space. And I have been also part of the TD5, which is an startup accelerator for specifically for DeFi and NFT ventures. And till now, in our 2 cohorts, we have incubated like 9 projects till now. And looking forward for this discussion. And thank you very much.
thank you, Samar, and welcome back. Last, I have Jamie, who's going to be speaking about his project later in the show. Jamie, a quick intro before we start your speech later in the later half of the show. Jamie, I think Jamie has frozen. Okay, so while he comes online on stage, let's just discuss Bitcoin. So, is Bitcoin actually digital gold? With that, I would like to also add this growth in store of value is really a contradiction, but not with Bitcoin. And why is that so? So, David, would you like to take that, please?
Sure. So this is something that I've thought about for a little while. When people try to go ahead and hone in on Bitcoin's, I'd say, primary aspect and feature of being a store of value. Certainly, we can talk about the fact that it is now also being used to transfer value and to pay for things. And I think a lot of people did not expect it as much as it seems to be gaining momentum. But to go back to the store of value case, so, precious metals and other items throughout history have been good stores of value, and they have been good places to park money, even before, there were savings accounts and treasuries and things of that sort. They were thought to be, relatively safe assets. They would always be in demand in some way, shape, or form for their value. And also, in the case of gold, people will argue that there is certainly a use case for gold as well, certainly jewelry. And people point to a lot of, I'd say, countries that value gold very much so. For instance, when you talk to anybody about the gold markets, there's always a discussion about how celebratory India is at the time and how much gold is being used to go ahead and celebrate, life cycle occasions. But in any event, with respect to gold, it's now ubiquitous. It's been, a store of value and well known throughout the world for a very, very long period of time. And the amount of gold that comes into the system, it comes from the mining, and the mining, is essentially driven, by the price of gold, and it's a pretty, I'd say, stable market in ways. It's not a particularly exciting market. Certainly hasn't been for quite some time now. In contrast, Bitcoin as a store of value still has a lot of room on the demand side of the equation. If we say that there are things like cash, treasuries, or government issued debt, gold, other precious metals, other commodities that are good stores of value that investors globally, whether they be the largest sovereign wealth funds all the way down to individual investors as a certain minority portion of their investments hold those things, we all know very well that the holders of Bitcoin in the world are an incredibly infinitesimally small amount. And that means that there is so much more room for Bitcoin to grow, so to say, on that side of the equation. It has yet to be added to so many balance sheets of so many, I'd say, reasonable investors, non-speculative investors that need to go ahead and have stores of value as part of their overall investment portfolio. And so therefore, although it is a safe haven asset, although it is considered a flight to safety asset on the one hand, on the other hand, it is still has an enormous amount of room to grow in terms of the demand side of the equation, simply by being added to the world's portfolios of investments.
Oh, thank you, David. Thank you, David, for that opening remarks. Next, I would like to ask Adrian about his insights.
I would like to use an example which was communicated these days, that Tesla started to sell, or will start to sell, cars using Bitcoin. And they said that they don't intend to exchange Bitcoin with fiat money. They just want to keep BTC into treasury. Anyway, Bitcoin failed to become a global adopted currency, but started to work very similar with how dollars, Swiss francs, and yens were considered, and still are considered from time to time, safe haven currencies. And if we are looking at the NFT market, and if people really would prefer to invest their money into digital assets more than invest in physical assets, the Bitcoin thesis to become the new gold makes sense. And of course, the limited supply makes it more and more available. And there are various theories saying that at a certain moment, the Bitcoin chart will look like that. So I sustain the idea that Bitcoin is the new digital gold, the new gold, actually.
Okay, but there are some differences between the gold and Bitcoin, right? I mean, in terms of supply and the demand, as David said. Obviously, gold has a use case, but Bitcoin, why would retail investors invest into Bitcoin? Institutional players, obviously, I'm going to come into that later, but let's just get that perspective, overall perspective. Patrick, would you like to take this question again? So, yeah.
Sure. So, like, our team conducted some data science to specifically answer that question, actually. Like, historically speaking, gold has been used as a refuge for traders. Whenever the stock market is declining, because gold is uncorrelated to the stock market, people, when there's a crisis happening or a decrease of the stock market, they move a lot of money into gold as a refuge. Historically speaking, that has been the case. Like, there's exception from time to time, but overall, that's quite a big of a use case. We've analyzed the correlation factor between Bitcoin and the stock market. It's a correlation factor of 82%. It's gold is around 0%. So it's not this. It's not used as the same purpose. So it cannot be that it's the new gold. It doesn't serve the same purpose whatsoever. Meanwhile, there's other things that if you try to design a diversified portfolio, that would make sense. Gold as like it's part of the commodity market. They are often uncorrelated to the stock market. They are often uncorrelated to the currency market. So if you build a diversified portfolio, it makes sense to have gold and Bitcoin and the stock market assets. In terms of the Bitcoin being more close to the stock market in terms of behavior, it's highly correlated, yes, but it before 2017, it was not as correlated. So I cannot predict what the future will be. Maybe it will evolve to be serving a different purpose. But for now, it's highly correlated to it, except it's growing faster and it's more volatile. So if you're trying to look to try to squeeze more money, and you have some extra money when there's the next big crash happening, either on the stock market or Bitcoin, it might be worth to buy because the next time that it grows, it may grow much faster than the like a lot of the stock market and indices and other kind of stock that exist. So that's my view. But yeah, they don't serve the same purpose. So I would not describe them as the same thing whatsoever.
Interesting perspectives coming out from the panel. Fabio, what do you have to share? What do you think? Is Bitcoin the real gold? I mean, the digital gold? Or
gold has three main roles. First of all, it's a commodity which is used in some industrial processes and obviously in jewelry. So has an intrinsic value which Bitcoin doesn't. And this is a major difference. Second, it's a commodity, it's a metal that has been used for millennia. Therefore, there is an experience, there is wide experience on the dynamics underlying its price. Third, gold is mainly owned by central banks. People forget this, that the largest number of ingots is stored in vaults. The most famous one is Fort Knox in the US, but all other central bank, many other central bank hold a lot of these gold reserves, and therefore are able to control the price if they want to, if they deem that that's in their interest or in the interest of their economy. So gold is not totally left to market forces. It is controlled by public institutions. The other issue is that gold cannot be used in retail transactions. So you can't enter a supermarket with I don't know, an ounce of gold and pay at the cashier. So this being said, when we ask the question, is Bitcoin the new gold? We want to verify if gold can be a store of value which is independent of the monetary policies of the major central banks. So this is debatable in the sense that it is true that Bitcoin is not controlled by government institution, is subject to rules in terms of a fixed amount, a total fixed amount that will be mined, and that the transactions are decentralized so that no one can have a dominant role in the issuance and in the way this currency is, or I should say, this means of payment is transferred. So Bitcoin has assumed an important role in the world economy. This is undoubtable. But we must keep in mind that its value depends on the trust that thousands of millions of people have in its capability of storing value. It's a different kind of trust compared to fiat currencies, to central bank currencies. When you hold dollars, euro, yen, yuan, British pounds, Swiss franc, you trust the institution and the economic system which sustains that currency. With Bitcoin, you trust the fact that many other people will deem it worthwhile to hold Bitcoin and keep their savings or part of their savings into that particular form. So these are the elements we must consider when we think of Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency, which is not sustained, which is not backed by a real asset. Different is the case of, I don't know, stable coins or ICOs or tokens that are backed by assets, real assets, which have a completely different role in the cryptosphere.
Great. Thank you, Fabio. Clearly, I can see that for us, for Fabio, it's not comparable to gold. Samar, what's your thoughts about it?
So, I mean, post-pandemic, the way central banks across globe has been printing money. For instance, the global debt right now stands at a massive 258 trillion, and this doesn't even include the recent stimulus announced by the US. Right, and due to all this large-scale quantitative easing by the economies, the valuation of the fiat money has been decreasing rapidly. Right, it is, I mean, if you see the dollar index, it is trading right now around its 2 year lower levels. Right, it is trading in the range of 90 to 90 to 93. Right, so it is, I mean, decreasing the valuation of fiat currencies very much. So basically, but this results in, I mean, the traditional saving instruments, they are offering around 5 to, I mean, 7% across economies. So, and the massive quantitative easing has been pushing the inflation levels also higher. So right. So up to until now, in these crucial times, most of the time the traditional large-scale investors move to the safe haven assets, right? And in the current scenario, I mean, there is a tussle going on between the which is the best safe haven asset for this current scenario, right? And Bitcoin has also the fixed supply, right? It has a fixed supply of 21 million. And right now, in 2020 halving, after the 2020 halving, I think more than 18.6 million of Bitcoins has been already been released. And it will take another, I mean, 40 to 50 years to complete the supply of, I mean, to release the total supply. So yeah, I think there is a scope, there is a massive scope, and there is a massive demand. And Bitcoin would all, I think, as per my opinion, Bitcoin would ultimately become the preferred safe haven asset of investors, as the digital gold narrative that is continuing, uh, that continues to gain traction, right? So that's my viewpoint, and I think it has massive demand, and it can easily overcome in the next 10 to 5 years as a, I mean, as the most driven safe haven asset.
Great insights coming out of the panel. Great viewpoints as well, David. I would like to ask about the why do we see more and more institutional players in this into investing into the asset class, it's quite volatile as well, as we know. So what's the reason for these big institutions?
Peer pressure. I think that certainly, I think no matter where you stand on whether Bitcoin is the next to gold, I think everybody on this panel sees the value of Bitcoin. We can argue about how much value that is, what our price target is, and so forth. But there certainly is a value to it because it does something that, at least until it came along, nothing else did. It provided form of functionality and value that was revolutionary. And at this point, there have been, I'd say, enough respected investors, both individuals and corporations, that have started to go ahead and invest in it publicly, privately, I'm sure some, and certainly looking at it and evaluating it. And the more institutions, respected institutions that there are out there that support it, I think it'll further become ingrained in corporate treasury culture. And I think as of now, there are very few corporate treasurers of any sort, whether it be for a corporation or an investment manager, that can avoid looking at it entirely. I think total deniers, I think are making a very, very risky decision, because if they're proven wrong and there is momentum, there is value, there is adoption that continues from here, they will be seen as having been ignorant of what's going on. So there is a lot of education, a lot of probing, I'd say a fair amount of adoption, and that will continue. The short answer to the question is we're over the hump. Unless there is some sort of catastrophic collapse or catastrophic, legal undoing, like Ray Dalio said yesterday, he thinks it's going to be outlawed, which I entirely disagree with. But by the way, with respect to Ray Dalio, he may say that, and on the other hand, be doing something else. So let's all, be very honest about, how money managers go ahead and talk out of both sides of their mouths. But at the end of the day, I do think that, there is going to be increasing pressure, for analysis and adoption.
Right, great points. And Ray Dalio, wow, that's good to know as well. Thank you, David. Adrian, your viewpoints on that. So what is driving this institutional sort of adoption into Bitcoin? What's behind that?
It's very good that we have so diverse opinion. This is the purpose of such a panel, and I always prefer rich than to be right. So I accept that I may be wrong. With the institution, there is some idea which also drives the stock market. It's like, if we are going, let's say, for a coffee tomorrow, and we are, let's say, fund managers, and we are discussing, okay, which is the hottest asset you are putting money in? Okay, I'm putting money in Bitcoin. If I'm, let's say, like a leader in my space, another 30 players tomorrow will put their money in Bitcoin with some due diligence, but not, let's say, without being influenced by me. It's the same thing with the stock market. What we are buying today, we are buying this. The price goes up. What we are dumping tomorrow, we are dumping this. And if a company is doing that, or an institutional investors, many others are following. What happens with Bitcoin, I call a little bit of institutional bubble. I said, maybe I'm wrong, but maybe we are talking about Bitcoin. Maybe there are some other coins which could perform better over time. Of course, Bitcoin is like a marketing element. It's on everybody's lips. Everybody knows a little bit about Bitcoin. Everybody talks about blockchain, but very few people know what blockchain is about, and less people know what Bitcoin is about. But everybody is seeing the increases because we are still in a bull market. There are corrections these days. So, of course, in any bubble, it pays to be on the good side, right? And um, uh, I would say that Bitcoin
Hi, Adrian. Is it me or is it Adrian? Hello?
I think it's
I think
Adrian.
Adrian.
Oh, okay. Right. Patrick, so would you like to go with this question while we wait for Adrian to come back?
Sure. So for me, I think I'll follow on Samarveer. Like the US printed 35% of their currency supply last year, and it's still going on. So I'm not the CFO of Tesla, but I think they're smart enough to realize that if they keep their war chest in USD currency, they're at risk if the dollar is devalued in the next few years or months. Meanwhile, for them, buying $1.5 billion of Bitcoin, is it really a big amount to them? Maybe not that much. So I think they were doing this just to edge their risk. And it's possible that they want to build just a war chest to edge against the potential devaluation against the USD currency. And I think that's probably why the other big tech firm realized the same thing. A lot of them are talking about converting a part of their excess cash into Bitcoin. I think it's the same reason. It's just to edge against risk of a devaluation of the USD. Uh, it's very likely. So, but I'm not them, so that's open to opinion, I guess.
Yeah, that's a great point, though. Thank you, Patrick. Adrian, we lost you. Would you like to just finish off what you were saying?
I was saying that my main invested thesis is diversification. So I don't put all the eggs in one basket.
Okay.
Of course, diversification can come from fear. So I'm not betting 100% on diversification, but it's a balance between them. Anyway, Bitcoin is very good to have in your portfolio. Is better to have than not to have it, and to learn a lot about it by having it as an asset in your portfolio, because it's a learning curve.
Yeah.
And we are in uncharted territories due to the all-time highs. Are things never seen before. Nobody can really predict what will happen. So it's a learning curve, learning by doing, by having, by managing.
Great points, great insights there. Fabio, over to you.
Yeah, it's exactly this unpredictability that constitutes the main weakness of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. So we have to be careful. I mean, if we want to take advantage of this innovation, we must be careful not to make promises that cannot be maintained. So if we say Bitcoin is the new gold, we somehow are misleading people, because it's a completely different thing. It is, as of now, useful mostly for transaction. A lot of people think that it can be a hedge against inflation, against devaluation, against economic havoc, especially in countries, in developing countries, in emerging markets, in places like Turkey, where the currency has been battered on the markets, and so on and so forth. But we have also to consider that these explosive pattern of Bitcoin price vis-a-vis the dollar, euro, might be the result of the liquidity pumped by central banks into the financial system. So it might be part itself of the bubble that we see in many traditional financial markets. So we must keep our heads cool. We must sharpen our analytical tools. We have to explain clearly and without, the distortion that an over-enthusiastic fan may introduce. What Bitcoin is and what is the role that it can play in the economy, in bringing to fruition a new decentralized financial sector, and in many other areas. But again, realism, pragmatism, not over enthusiasm is the name of the game.
Right. Got it. Got it. Thank you for sharing your insights as well. Summer, let's take your insights and then we'll move to Jamie.
Yeah, so I think I'm in the post BTC halving in May 2020, right? There's a shift in the investment style as these traditional large funds are choosing BTC as an alternative to gold, which shows an increase in trust by the traditional funds. For example, I'm in the Rougher investment company, right, which have a major portion of their investment is in gold, right, and they have been dumping their position approximately 2.5% from gold to BTC, right, and the probable reasons which is fueling the crypto adoption in the traditional sector. I mean, it is almost comparable with the gold, right? I mean, gold has fixed supply, Bitcoin as well has a fixed supply, and uh, it has a particular deflationary model. I mean, after every halving there will be a reduction of the supply in Bitcoin after every mining, right? And
Yeah.
therefore, I think Bitcoin is envisioned as a digital gold by the crypto community. And amid the coronavirus pandemic, unprecedented, I mean, printing of money by the governments. I mean, this basically the safe haven conceptually means we have to hedge our position in some other asset, right? So yeah, I mean, as well also, if we see the on-chain analytics, right, on the blockchain, on the Bitcoin network, only a minuscule of 1.32% of the total Bitcoin addresses are in loss right now. So yeah, I mean, it shows the craze and the adoption which is going on right now. And also, if you see appreciation of the gold prices and the Bitcoin prices, I mean, from mid 2020, Bitcoin has appreciated by more than 400%, right? And as compared to gold, which has only appreciated only 10 to 15%. So yeah, I mean, there are certain factors which is pushing the crypto adoption more and more. I mean, traditional funds from Mass Mutual to Grayscale, from MicroStrategy to Tesla, everyone is rushing into the crypto sphere, right? So it is not like that key. We can compare it with gold. I mean, it is more of a benefit for Bitcoin because gold you cannot use as a payment gateway, but in Bitcoin you can use this as a payment gateway. Also, if we see, we have to, I mean, if you want to store a large amount of gold in some if you want to store gold, right, you have to submit with it with your custodians, with your, I mean, treasuries. But in the case of Bitcoin, it has a specifically, I mean, advantage over gold. It can be stored very easily. So yeah, I mean, there are particular areas in which Bitcoin is, I mean, outperforming gold.
Gold
So
as
yeah,
an asset
so yeah,
class. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the benefits. I think these are the benefits of being digital, like, programmable money, right? Thank you so much. Now we have Jamie from Brilliantx, who is going to talk about his project. So please, guys, stay tuned. It's an amazing project. I personally love the project. And Jamie, over to you, please, with some introduction about your company incorporation. How did it start? Why now this? So let's just hear it from you.
Okay, well, my computer, I can't share the screen, so I'll just talk to you. But I had some computer issues there.
So as you guys are all institutional, I used to be in institutional sales years ago. I actually ran a hedge fund out of Singapore. I was part of a precious metal and oil and gas hedge fund. So my background is in finance. In 2015, I left and I joined one of Canada's largest wholesalers of precious stones, mainly natural fancy colored diamonds. So I've somewhat become an expert in precious stones. Kim, who's part of our team, she's probably one of the top diamond people in the world. She can source, she could put anything together. So if anyone needs any precious stones or stuff in the future, let us know. So anyway, as I was with that company, I became interested in Myanmar specifically, the greatest undeveloped natural resources in the world. The undeveloped gold projects and precious stone projects are actually located in Myanmar. So we've done a lot of work in there. Well, Thailand has some too, but anyway, so we a few years ago, and we started going into Myanmar. We partnered with the local mining people, the government. I mean, there's been some issues there recently, but we partnered with the different groups and we did some exploration. And we have some very significant discoveries that our partners brought to us that we are going to develop. So we're focused on gold exploration and hopefully take it eventually to production at some point. But we're really most interested in precious stones. Obviously I don't know everyone's background, but the world's best rubies and sapphires come out of Myanmar. So they actually rarely even make it across the ocean. Most of the time they just get sold in Hong Kong, Singapore, Dubai, buy all the stones, and then basically they're gone, right? They're put into the large collections. So in our exploration, we came across some gold properties that probably are multi-million ounce projects that we're going to develop through Brilliantx. But also we're in the later stages of launching a platform to market and sell precious stones. Basically, people will be able to buy the stones with crypto. So Brilliantx, certain stones will only be able to use Brilliantx. Well, for other stones, will accept Bitcoin and so on. But this discussion is gold and Bitcoin correlated? Of course, they do have correlations, but there's actually a large correlation between crypto and precious stones because when you travel, if you've traveled across international borders with either diamonds or gold, you know that when you cross into another country, if you have a lot of gold on you, you do have to report it. It's required. Is recognized as a currency, but when you travel with precious stones, you actually don't have to report. There's no country in the world currently that you have to report, so you can actually walk literally right through.
So Jamie, can you share
yes.
Can you just send me your presentation? I may be able to share the screens.
I can't. Sorry, my computer crashed, so I thought I maybe I just go through it. Sorry.
Okay.
But I know you gentlemen will want to see the presentation later. Go through it. I know how the institutional framework works. But anyway, so what we're doing with Brilliantx, we're going to develop these projects. These projects are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. But we want to also have the component of having the precious stones exchanged for crypto, because obviously precious stones is a huge market. There is a demand for different purchases of crypto, but we know that our groups that we're dealing with, we have some groups up in the Manila, some of the casinos, they have large clientele who want to buy precious stones with crypto. So we developed Brilliantx to take advantage of that. Generally, traditional mining projects are always continually having to fundraise, of course, and issue. Generally, most our mining projects are in on the stock market, but we wanted to have a mechanism deflationary mechanism for Brilliantx, so that when we sell the stones or sell projects, we'll actually be able to just buy back our tokens. So eventually, as we move on, unlike a lot of the other cryptos, which are almost like their own central bank, they're just printing forever. We want to actually buy back as many of the tokens as possible. So we have a mechanism to boost the crypto price. Yeah, I mean, that's basically the sum of what we're doing. So in the near future, we'll be bringing the Brilliantx collection into Singapore once we can get in there in June or July, and we'll be marketing them directly. People will be able to buy through crypto. So basically, it's a very simple process. Someone has it on their wallet, they send us the crypto, we give them the stone. It's basically as easy as that, right? So it's a huge opportunity. That area has had some issues, but it really needs help developing. It is, we have some very good partners. We'll develop these projects, and of course, we expect everyone, the Brilliantx holders, to make a lot of money, have huge returns. But also, there's a humanitarian aspect of it, because when you're working in countries like Myanmar, and even Thailand and Laos and Cambodia, that area, I mean, the costs are very low, but you can actually make a big difference on developing projects, right? You help the people. And why do they need us? Well, they need us because we have the international access to get the stones, get the product out of the country. They want us to help them take their product to the international markets. So that's pretty much a summary of what we're doing.
Okay, great. Any questions? Let's take some questions. Adrian?
I would say, and I always like to focus on the positives. When you make a pitch, it has to be very, very concise, and to explain in few words, very easy to be understood, what the project is about, where is the value, and which is the biggest problem it will solve. I was lost. And of course, I'm a marketing, sales, and business development guy, and I treat things to my filter, which may be good or may be bad. So I would like, and I'm happy to help you if you want to, and I will do it as a gift as part of this community to optimize your pitch, so to get the attention of an audience when you are doing this exercise. This is very important, and you can have the best project in the world, but if it's not the presentation, if it's not structured correctly, and you have like few minutes to catch the attention, the pitch will not give you the results you want to have.
Well, thank you for your opinion.
Happy to help. Contact me on LinkedIn, and consider it as a gift if you want to use it. And being part of this community, I'm very happy to help you to arrange this part.
Yeah, thank you.
So yeah, any other questions? Like, why would any other questions, please?
Yeah, Jeremy. So I have one more question about the platform you are planning to release. I mean, will it be you will be planning to you are also planning to launch your own separate cryptocurrency, or will it you will only take the payments in Bitcoin or all the other cryptocurrencies? No, we're launching Brilliantx, so Brilliantx will hold all the. So I mean, what will be the other use cases other than the payment gateways? Because there are many currencies which are doing the same thing. I mean, what will be the other specific use cases of the tokens other than the payment gateway? The main the tokens hold the projects, right? These are very valuable projects. So we do have a way. If you review the white paper, you'll see the projects that we're developing. There's 2 gold and 1 diamond project. So the the Brilliantx token itself holds the projects, and the Brilliantx token will be able to convert it to the stones. So there's really not a lot of mining related entities that actually do both. So we actually have our own currency. It is a currency that people could purchase the stones, and of course that's a huge business, right? But we do have access to the value add we have is we have the partners in Myanmar. We have access to these stones, which are super rare, right? The Burmese rubies and the Burmese sapphires. So we have the supply and we have the demand on the other side. So this design is built to always be making money, right? Like I said earlier, we don't want to be continually going to the market all the time. We want to develop these projects and then buy back our tokens is what our, at of course, a higher value. As things go up, we expect it to value to increase, right? So that's basically, I mean, we don't have a lot of time on these calls, but that's, and I'd be happy to chat with anyone one-on-one in detail, but that is what we are doing in a nutshell. The problem with a lot of the cryptos, and I mean, I've traded them, we've all owned them, and for different reasons, but they actually don't have tangible projects, right? They have, they have virtual stones, they have virtual things, which is great. I mean, they're doing well, making money, whatever. But if I do believe the future of crypto is actually to have tangible projects and tangible assets, right? Assets that you can actually put in your hand, because this, you go back to the thing about, is Bitcoin the next gold? Well, Bitcoin's great, gold is great, but they're very different in different ways, right? So we're just looking for a way for investors to be part of these projects. I mean, basically is what is going to happen. So when people invest through the crypto, they will also have the opportunity to convert their crypto into the precious stones, right? And it's, I mean, the ruby business, the sapphire business is actually really starting to become more and more, gaining more and more traction. What has happened with the natural fancy colored diamonds in recent years is they've gotten so expensive. You got pinks going for 2 million a carat, you got blues going for 5 million a carat, that a lot of people can't even obviously can't afford it now, right? So what's happened now is the market is moving downstream. They're moving into rubies, they're moving into sapphires, and the best sapphires and rubies do come from Myanmar. So we'll be bringing those straight to our showroom in Singapore, and Sunny's been in our office. And people will be able to convert their crypto directly into the stones. So obviously one of the issues with crypto is people like confidentiality. They can literally bring their wallets and convert it right to the precious stones. So we have relationships with the casinos up in Manila, 3 of the bigger ones. They have interest in clients. They literally just want to convert. They want to convert cash to stones too, but crypto works obviously much easier. They can basically give us the crypto, we give them a stone, and the margins on rubies and sapphires is probably at least 50 to 100% margins, right? So this is a money maker. Basically, it's a money maker.
Anybody?
To me, that
yeah, go on, Patrick.
To me, what I understand is that you have a perfectly profitable business model, even without the crypto. I don't understand why the crypto had any real benefit, because you could be just doing this with an e-commerce platform and it would be the exact kind of same project to me. And I'm not saying it's not a good project. It could be a really profitable and all that, but I fail to see what is the real need of crypto in this.
Because the crypto is well, we want to use the crypto Brilliantx as a way of financing the exploration plays, right? So rather than going to the market and issuing shares or whatever, the value in the Brilliantx token going up is actually in the developing of the precious metal and the precious stone projects, right? Because the great, it's all gold is great, it goes up in value, but the real money is made on exploration and development of gold and diamond projects, right? You can take $5-10 million and turn it into 200-300 million or more.
Yeah, but the thing, mining operation have been doing this forever. They didn't use crypto; they were just selling their stock on the public market. It's not uncommon. They've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, the problem with mining companies is they usually don't sell the stones, right? So we wanted a mechanism where they basically they finance whatever happens. They don't have a marketing arm, right? Most of the big mining companies, some of the golds they produce, they'll sell it to the central bank. But we wanted to have the full spectrum. So we basically will take stones right from the ground and take it right, cut out the middleman and bring it right to the end user. And of course, that's where you have much higher margins, right? So the markets for crypto, there is a demand for people to convert their crypto into precious stones, is what we've seen. Anyway, the people we've dealt with. So we said, well, why don't we create our own crypto, and people will be able to convert directly into precious stones. And there's really there's no reporting requirements, right? When you exchange a stone into a crypto. So there is there's a lot of money to be made. That's really the value, is bringing those stones out of Myanmar.
And we have that pink stone, Jamie.
Yeah, this is just a little one, but sorry, you can't really tell. This is a pink sapphire.
Pink
but
sapphire.
These are the type of stones we're doing. But I don't know if any of you are familiar with precious stones, or obviously you're all gold quite well. The Argyle mine in Australia closed last year. That was the producer of most of the pink diamonds in the world. So there's a huge demand now. People are looking for diamond deposits specifically. So we have one of our projects is actually a diamond exploration play. So it has huge value. I mean, if it works out, it's probably billion, 2 billion plus, right? But we wanted to go. One of the reasons we went the crypto route is because you can get a much wider audience base, right?
Right.
With the stock market, there are barriers to entry for investors.
Yeah.
Because obviously, even on Brilliantx, I mean, I think the minimum order is like 25 cents, right?
Yeah.
If you go to countries like Myanmar, you go to places like Philippines or whatever, where we've done business, the investment base doesn't have $100 minimum or $5,000 minimum to open an account, right? In Canada, to open a brokerage account is $5,000 minimum, right? So we wanted a structure that that anyone can invest in, right? So people don't have to using Myanmar, for instance, there's 55 million people, and most of them don't have a bank account. Well, if you don't have a bank account, how are you going to invest in a stock, right? You can't. You have to. That's part of the thing, right?
Yeah.
So we want to give the general people, and I know it's different for institutions. Obviously, you guys are have certain requirements, but we look at it more as a way to give the people that have not had the chance to invest in projects like this, to be part of it, right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the. But to answer your question, that's probably the reason we went the crypto route.
Yeah, it's a great project. I'm going to share the pitch deck, the white paper. I'm going to email you all the details. Sorry, we couldn't have it, but just have a look. And we are doing the IO on the airdrops are also happening soon. So,
yeah, I mean, it is more. I would say we're more of a retail crypto, because the retail market is probably is more interested in the precious stone side, I think. I mean, you look at the people that buy precious stones. There's either the investors, there's or people that want to use them, right? They want to buy them for
engagement ring. They wanted to buy them for a present or something, right? So that's really our focus. But we do expect big gains. So we'd welcome everyone to take even a little piece or a big piece or whatever.
Thank you, Jamie. Do we have any other? If we do not have any further questions for Jamie, let's take some closing remarks for the show. Is that okay? Or anybody have any other question right now? Fabio, Adrian, thank you for your help in helping with the presentation. I mean, any help is definitely much appreciated, and thanks for offering your help.
The opportunity is there. This bridge between crypto and precious metals is big opportunity, and of course lowering the entry barrier for the regular people, because the crypto in general goes into mass adoption, and this is one of the reasons why we are here. And when we have entrepreneurs, is very easy to critique something, but I prefer to help. If I see an opportunity of helping, that's why we are here. It's an educational movement. So and anybody who, if I'm saying something and somebody is saying to me, okay, you are wrong, or you could do it differently, I'm going to listen. This is how we learn. This is what is all about. And VCTV, it's an educational platform. If people are tuning in here, it can change their life. No joke.
No, LA took has a great platform, no doubt. These different groups and different chats. We've going through this process just to go in the last month. I mean, it's an impressive system, right?
Correct.
Thank you, Adrian. Thank you, Jamie. Obviously, I love the project, Jamie. Besides the stones that I see, I mean, that's the stones. So yeah, let's take some closing remarks. I'm going to start with David. Maybe David, do we have closing remarks?
Sure. Look, I appreciate the spirited debate about Bitcoin and its differences and commonality with gold. Certainly, you can't go black or white on that. It can't be totally different. It can't be totally the same. I think it shares, certain aspects and differs in others. But I think that I will continue to be the biggest bull maybe on this panel.
Right.
I do think that it is an incredible investment opportunity because of the adoption, but not in terms of use, adoption in terms of investment by respected investors around the world that will continue. And I don't think that gold is going to have that same, that same trajectory simply because it's already been, adopted.
Great insights. Thank you so much, David. Patrick, closing remarks about Bitcoin being an asset class comparable to gold.
Yeah, so I would say Bitcoin is one of the most stable crypto asset on the market, except for stablecoin, obviously. But with that said, even a tweet of Elon Musk can influence the price, 25%? It's highly volatile still. And because it's somewhat unregulated, because it's span adoption in a lot of different countries, like the SEC is not gonna look to that much as hard with people who do price manipulation. So all the big trading firm, they are not there to help people or the community. They are there to make money. If they feel they can make more money by crashing the price of Bitcoin, they might have an opportunity to do so. Like those companies in the US may be actually regulated by the SEC, but outside of the US, anything can happen. And it's the market cap and the size of Bitcoin and other crypto is so small that you can still influence it significantly. So I would remain cautious for anybody to not put all their savings into this to average out on a longer period of time, because if Bitcoin lose 50% of its value tomorrow, and Ethereum and the other assets lose 80 or 90%, it's going to hurt for a lot of people. And we've seen this happen in early 2018. It's not impossible it may happen again. I'm still bullish that the crypto market will do well over the next 10 years, but there might still be hiccups in here and there along the way. So we have to be careful.
Patrick, for your views. Samar, quickly, your closing remarks before you jump off to
Yeah.
another call.
Yeah. So to conclude the discussion, I just want to say one thing. I mean, gold is here to stay for the jewelry and other use cases, right? But after this pandemic hit, I mean, the whole scenario has been changed. We are witnessing a paradigm shift. So I think in the new century, the new decade, which is we are entering. So I think Bitcoin will automatically beat gold as a safe haven asset. So yeah, that's what I just want to say, and thank you so much for having us. Yeah,
And the same lines, very bullish about Bitcoin. Thank you.
yeah, always.
All right. Adrian?
I can call myself a Bitcoiner, but I don't have to be a fan of electricity to use it. I don't have to be a huge fan of Bitcoin to use it for trading, to use it for staking. And I'm doing it to learn more about it, to see which are things which are even better than Bitcoin. This is one of our principles using Cloudcoin. We piggyback a lot on Bitcoin, and it's a learning curve. It's it's a lost opportunity if you don't add Bitcoin to what you are doing. If you are an investor, if you are an institutional investor or a retail trader, and it's a learning curve. The investments and the financial markets are changing. Be part of the change, or you will be left behind. That's it.
It's a learning curve. I absolutely agree. It's a learning curve. Thank you, Adrian. So, Jamie, let's close the show, wrap up the show with your closing remarks.
Well, I mean, our structure is quite different. I know that's one of the questions we've had. And it was a good question asked why we're not going to the stock market, but that is one of the main reasons. We want the more general market, because the one thing with our business model is holders of Brilliantx also become our clients potentially, right? When they have they want a precious stone or jewelry or whatever, if they own the part of the project, they basically will have interest in doing stuff with us, right? So I've dealt with a lot of the mining companies in the past, the big ones, the small ones, but the region we're in, things move very fast. You can actually develop projects very fast, whereas in other places like Canada, US, it takes forever. So we're a fast moving business, and that's probably part of the reason why I think crypto is best too, because crypto is moving, it's changing, right? Yeah. And there is mass adoption, right? I'm very bullish on crypto. I think it's the way for us to go.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you, Jamie. Very bullish about crypto as well. So who is not bullish about crypto here? I think everybody is. I think David, I like the smile, and Adrian, I love that smile as well. And Patrick as well. And Jamie said it. Thank you so much for making this panel again. Very, very informative. As Adrian said, it's a learning curve for all of us, and we don't know what the future holds. But let's just stay positive, and let's just stay bullish about the market and support the market to grow and have mass adoption. Thank you so much. Take care. Take care of yourself. I'm going to catch you again on another panel. Till then, watch VCTV. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.